Back to our weather coverage as we remain in the grips of a dangerous deep freeze. The extreme cold prompting a number of schools to close today. Mark's tracking the latest as we brace for another night of brutal wind chills below zero, Mark.
Yeah, bundle up, right? Grab an extra blanket, another log in the wood stove tonight, whatever it takes to stay warm. So here's where we ended up this morning in comparison. It was 2 in Rochester. The one spot closer to town, -4 out in Medina. But check out some of the numbers down to the south. You get down to Olean. They got down to 11 below zero this morning. And I suspect that a lot of these areas will also be below zero once again tonight. Now, temperatures at this point are still well above zero, but 13 in Rochester. That's about 20 degrees below normal for this time of the year. If you put in the normal high, it would be 33 close to the city. There are some single-digit temps back to the southwest, like Warsaw at 8 degrees, but you put in that wind component out of the west-southwest at 17, and it feels like it's -4, and that number right there is set to drop back as we go through the overnight tonight. So here's our wind chill chart, and you can see some of the grayed out areas. I'm going to stop it at a couple of different points, like midnight tonight. Even with a wind at 10 miles per hour and an air temperature at 5, it's going to feel like it's -10. You can look at some of the other combinations on the screen here and imagine what it must feel like with colder weather. But 4 a.m., you see that -16. I think it's going to get close to -20 for a lot of spots tonight. So that's a point, again, where you have to limit exposure and just cover up anything if you plan to be outside for any length of time for tomorrow. Now, the Arctic air will start to move out. That's the good story if you don't like this stuff. 24 for Thursday, mid-20s for Friday. And I think by Sunday, Monday, we'll have that high temperature back close to 30 degrees. So something down the road that'll, I guess that's warm compared to the weather that we have for tomorrow. Now, the lake effect snow warning, this is still in effect, too. So this is kind of the secondary story. If you have to travel out west of Rochester this evening, we still have that channel of lake effect coming in across Lake Erie, and there's a cold front back to the west that's going to switch this wind direction just a little bit from the southwest back to more of a west-southwest wind, and that's going to drive some of this lake effect right here into western Monroe County briefly. So it's not going to last long, but you could get a coating to a ½ inch as some of that lake effect starts to move on in. So a lot of this snow stays towards Buffalo, as it always does. But into Genesee County, an inch or two. Southern Orleans County could see an inch or so during the overnight, but I think a lot of that will avoid Rochester. We'll see how this ends up if the sky clears out early enough tonight. -3 is a possibility. That wind chill temperature could get down as cold as -20. Colder than that south of Rochester. I think for the morning at the bus stop, it's close to zero. That frigid cold start with the southwest breeze, and by the afternoon, we'll be at about 13 degrees. Clouds slowly on the increase. The blustery, bitter wind continues with that ornamental sunshine. Thursday, cloudy sky, 24. Some morning snow showers Friday. Nothing to worry about there. Not quite as harsh on Saturday. And, you know, you look at a 30 on the board, and that's going to feel good. It's still not warm enough to melt the icicles on the outside of the house, but it's going to feel good.
I told you, the pups come in and their paws are frozen. They're not liking it.
Yeah. We got the sweater on Indy. She takes a look at it. We have to coax her to go out the door.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
Yep.